Welcome to A Woman in Nuclear podcast, the podcast that dives deep into the dynamic world of women in the nuclear industry. Join us as we explore the challenges, triumphs, and unique perspectives of women shaping the future of nuclear energy. Stay tuned and enjoy. Welcome to today's episode of A Woman in Nuclear podcast. Today we have a very interesting guest in the person of Nigeria's first female reactor operator. We bring you Nana Fatima Abdulmalik of the Center for Energy Research and Training, Zaria. Welcome, Nana, to this episode of the podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
We are glad to have you honor our invitation. So generally, the podcast is aimed at having women in the industry share their stories, and we hope that other women who are probably experiencing similar challenges you might have overcome to get to this particular altitude of your career will take one or two lessons from it and help solve their own challenges. So let's dive right into it. So let's begin from the background, the backstory. Where did it start? What happened? Was it accidental? Was it intentional? Was it you slept or you had this dream? Or how did it all begin?
Okay. First of all, I greet everyone in the greeting of peace. And as she has clearly introduced me, Nana Fatima Abdulmalik. My background is actually geology. I'm a geologist.
Okay.
I'm a geologist. So being that, wherever you happen to find yourself in any working space, you have to learn. Yeah. And whatever is thrown at you, you have to put your mind, dedication, and spirit into it. So it wasn't so. I never thought of being in this field ever, because physics was even one of the subjects I kind of despised. But life just has a way of bringing some things back to you, and you really don't have the choice. If you really want to excel in life, you have to learn. And take, for example, mathematics is also another skill that I don't like. One of the reasons I dwelled into geology.
Okay.
But apparently, anytime it comes on, anytime I happen to come across anything mathematical, as God will have it, I always have that spirit of solving it and scaling through. So we thank God for that. So being in this field too, that was something I never saw coming. And like I said, you just have to put your mind and spirit into it. I see it as an area or a field that is kind of male dominated, most fields. So it doesn't go by the saying what the man can do better. No, you just try to learn from your male colleagues, and you all grow together. Because when you try to compete, at times some competitions are not quite healthy, and the best you can do is just to learn, excel, develop your skill, mind settings, have that technical know-how. Just build your capacity within yourself, within and outside the environment you happen to find yourself, and then you all excel. Because by the time we all leave this world, just have that legacy of goodness that you leave behind, and one will try to build upon and take as an example as you proceed in life. So being in this nuclear field, honestly, it's quite interesting. And as I got into it, by the current director was the one that influenced me into it, and I was kind of glad. I never saw it coming, and I thank God I decided to take the bull by the horns, and I was like, yes, I can do it. So you learn on the job.
That's interesting. Professor S.A. Jonah of SAT is who she is referring to, and he has raised men in the nuclear industry in Nigeria. And fortunately for me, I am part of the people he is raising. So I can attest so much to his benevolence. I can tell you that, yes, he's just the best. He's just the best. So it's actually quite interesting that though it is accidental for you, you did not relent. You went up and you really did take the bull by the horn. I mean, this is you seated here and you are pioneer, you are someone every woman in the nuclear industry in Nigeria should be looking up to at this point, despite that your background does not even relate. And it also goes further to tell us that even when your background is not physics, even when your background is not nuclear physics or nuclear science and technology, the industry has a way to absorb you and still make you do the best that you can do. So as I've stated, it's actually, yes, a very well male dominated industry. So how has it been for you as a woman in a male dominated industry? How the challenges you've come to overcome, the barriers you face, and some of the things you come to encounter as a woman that are peculiar to women in the industry.
When you actually hear the word nuclear, I've had some people try to discourage me, some people that were not quite happy. Of course, there will definitely be people that were happy and those that were not happy. People that were not quite happy with the fact that they looked at it from the angle of the feminine body structure, especially the reproductive aspects. Even during the last symposium, someone spoke to me about it and I was like, okay, if you are not able to give birth, I was like, I mean, that is in God's hands. And with the way our nuclear facility is, it's not as huge or as large as that of nuclear power plant that kind of has a higher degree of radiation within it. And they kind of looked at it that they would have given someone that maybe has already given birth, and are probably not going to give birth anymore, just some discouraging words or stuff like that, and they were coming from the male, males, not my male colleagues actually, but from some of the invitees, that day. I was not like, I just put it in the deaf ear. So those are kind of one of the challenges. You just get to hear some negative, feedback, some clapbacks, and you're not like, if you don't really have a strong mind, you just feel discouraged, but I just blocked all that because it's all about me. It's my intention. Everything is just in check. So one doesn't have to engulf that fear, so to say. And then with my male colleagues, they are very, 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 very helpful. In fact, I'll say they are the best.
Oh, wow.
They are so good. In fact, before I even joined them, because they're in a particular section of the facility and I was in different sections. So by the time, I now join them as a family, I'll say, they are excellent. They are, I think, the best. And if Nigeria is to proceed in having this nuclear power plants program, to kickstart. Honestly, if they don't have these my guys, don't have these my guys up there, I'm telling you, that project will not move forward. So they are just the best. I love them. I honestly say I love them so much. They are just good. They are dedicated. They have that mindset of we do what needs to be done, and they didn't really have that should I say look at it as if, because we're actually two females, I and Haja Safia, Mrs. So they didn't give us that room of you guys are females, no, don't be coming to the facility. They always engage us. If there's anything that needs to be done, we're always being engaged. They look for us. If they don't even see us, they'll call us, put us through. Anything we don't understand, they put us through. And honestly, so far so good. Within and that family, they are very, very, very cooperating. But you get all those negative feedback, especially when it comes from outside the facility, and mostly outside the facility when people you try to interact with some people, whether within the university, because even it's quite unfortunate that some people even within the university still don't even know how it operates. Some people even think that facility is not working, is obsolete, just some negative talks that still fly around. But trust me, if you don't play a deaf ear to that, you always fall a victim of depression one way or the other. So we thank God so far so good, honestly. The positives are well over more than the disadvantages and the negative talks and the challenges. So we thank God for that.
Yeah, thank God for that because I don't know. I don't know how I would have felt if someone was telling me all those things you get to hear. But I think that's actually part of being a female in the industry. It comes that way. So, how have you enjoyed or benefited from mentorship, and how important do you think this is necessary for women and for young ladies in the industry?
Females kind of less because we have less females within the industry. So most times you just have to lay back and fall back to your male colleagues on this matter, to learn and progress. And most times when you have some of these programs, trainings, conferences, some courses to attend, workshops, you'll see that most times they always emphasize to have more females to participate. Then the other challenge at times that being that we're still growing, we're licensee training operators. So whenever at times we even try to apply for some programs, to develop more, understand more on this field that we find ourselves, they still maybe use the categorization of probably we are still juniors, so let them push it to the seniors. And when you keep pushing it more to the seniors, of course, you are still engaging more of the males. So we try not to be discouraged. Anyway, we'll keep trying until we get to where we need to get to. And then you see at times there are some certain programs that need to be, that are even specifically, you read it and then you see that they're specifically for operators within the reactor facilities that need to go for these programs. But you see people outside the facility applying for these programs, and I'll be like, how does that really make sense? So some challenges you find in that field of, even if it is not just for us, the females, even our male colleagues, others from outside facilities will be applying for these programs. And then you get to wonder, okay, fine, they should attend these programs, but when they get back, they don't come to the facility to practice what they've learned. So it even affects even my male colleagues, even just us, the females. So it affects us all. So you see that we are trying to be competing with people even outside the facility to get some opportunities to go for some programs so that we'll have further mentorship from expertise from other facilities, whether especially outside the country, of course, since we are the only facility in Nigeria. So it's now lies on having expertise, learning, having more knowledge and skills from other facilities outside the countries. But you'll find out that most people from other areas or workspace are trying to push themselves into those spaces. And by the time they come back, they don't put into practice what they've learned, thereby blocking our chances of even practically studying or practically putting into practice rather what we have learned within our occupational fields. But we have these blockages that are coming from time to time. So as females, it doesn't really actually affect only us. It's general. Yeah, it's a general something. So, but so far so good. We are still pushing. We'll keep looking for more opportunities, and we hope that those outside will get to understand that it's not just by traveling out to just go to a new place. You have to learn, come back. Maybe even if you're not going to put it into practice, at least what you've learned, maybe probably send it to us. Then maybe, or you create a form of seminar that, okay, you went for social program, so these programs that you're going to learn, those of us that are within the facility can even now practicalize it and see how we can put it into good use to develop ourselves and keep improving in our work. So that's just it so far, honestly.
Hey, that's interesting. So, who has influenced your life and your career in general?
um, Honestly, I don't really have an answer to that. I influence. Don't really have an answer to that. I can just say encouragement anyway. Just centers around encouragement. Of course, first and foremost, my family, and of course, topmost of that, if you want to even start the topmost is God. Like I said, I fall within a different discipline entirely. So for this to have even come, because I'm not the first female to even work in the center. So,
Yes.
like for it to have come to me, I didn't look for it. It came, and it is not my making.
Yeah.
It's just God that, that must have put it in the director's head. Okay, something like this, something like this. Why don't you, bring this lady into the picture and her colleague? So topmost gratification goes to God. And then I thank my family for the support of my nuclear facility, the reactor facility family, my colleagues, and some other staff of the university, well aware of what had happened so far, even from the department I graduated from, which I'm still doing my PhD under, the Department of Geology. I have quite a number of my lecturers there that I really give gratitude to. So in Department of Physics, so especially these two departments anyway, I really, really had a lot of encouragement from some of the lecturers from there. So I give them thanks. Well, I thank them so much for the encouragement. So far, so good.
Thank you. So, in general, let's talk about the nuclear industry in general, and of course, Nigeria in particular. Nigeria is, we've been planning on this nuclear energy program. It's been on the policy phase for quite a time. So generally, what would you want us to do? What do you want Nigerians to do different with regards to speeding up the nuclear energy program? We already have research reactor. We are doing the research, and we are coming up with a lot of innovations. But still, it seems as if the story is still going far. The journey is still going to be far. So, what do you think we need to do to hasten up?
Seriousness. We need to be serious, because looking at electricity as one sector in the country that has been, I would say, underdeveloped. Like you see people that would want to people that come into power that would want to make it a thing of the past, but you find certain individuals that are benefiting from this back sets, of what the country is facing. Take, for example, let's say the people working in the generator sector. Of course, they will not be happy if we have steady power supply. Nobody will benefit, from generator business anymore. And then this whole corruption thing, it has really eaten too deep into the system, that trying to get good things set on track, work, and maintain them and keep them running for years, it's something that only God knows if it will ever come into reality. Because no matter how you try to take a step forward, you end up finding yourself 1,000 steps backward. So that's what has happened with this nuclear power plants that we've been trying to, kickstart for years now. And if I'm not mistaken, this had been on the plan since Obasanjo's time or thereabout. So we try to see that, okay, what can we do about it? So you see that some of these things that are actually written, they're on paper, they've been bidded for. You have the contractors on ground, especially foreign contractors, of course. So you see that it's something that should not be played with, so to say. If we need to be serious, let's be serious. Put this thing, let it kickstart. Let it be something that, okay, yes, we need this. We need electricity to be stable in this country. And nuclear is one clean source of energy that is quite, most countries are dwelling into it. So, of course, why not? We can't continue to depend on fuel, fossil, gas, even the renewable energies. Of course, there are times that they'll dwindle. I have, for example, the sun. Of course, there'll be time that, okay, what if we don't have enough sun rays, like cloudy days? The winds too, it's not all the time we have winds, blowing. But nuclear, it's quite clean, it's strong, it's quite has a lot of advantages. Like I said during talking about our own facilities, we have our colleagues that are actually well learned, they are grounded, they are dedicated. Like, trust me, if they are to have this to kickstart and keep the ball rolling, in fact, they have to come to us and have this, It's not that I'm bragging, but I mean, we have to praise.
Yeah, no, you have the
My colleagues
bragging
are
rights.
there.
I can attest to
My
all of
colleagues are
them.
there. So anything, honestly, we just need to be serious. If Nigeria wants to move forward, we need to be serious with this nuclear energy thing. If you could recall during the symposium, we actually had the what's his name? Sorry, our chairman, from what he said, that of course he didn't really want to let out some information,
Yeah.
but these are things that those that are supposed to come into play to keep this rolling, they are already there. This thing will pass a lot of stages. But what is stopping us from actualizing this thing? Is seriousness, honestly. Is it the fund? Nigeria has money. It's just that the money just keep going into the wrong hands. But for
Very
the money to
well.
be used for what to build us, what to, move us forward, to take us from this point that we are in right now to develop further is just the problem. Is just the problem. Other than that, long, long, long ages, that many decades ago, would have forgotten about this space already. Is
Yeah,
it the area that needs to be selected to have this? Is already there. They've done all the environmental assessments. They've done all that needs to be done. So what is remaining is just the seriousness. And like I said, they cannot say it's the funding. The money is there. In fact, I
very
even
well.
want to believe that there's a separate account that is even dedicated to, saving this money so that nobody will touch it. But I don't know. I don't know. So seriously, we just need to be serious. It's just that seriousness. But Nigeria, as we all know, is tough. It's only God that knows where this country will develop past this stage.
Yeah,
And okay,
we
and
I okay.
one more thing, we actually have that enlightenment, sensitization.
Yeah,
Most people went till date, like I mentioned, if you remember, that even within the university, there are some people that still don't even know what we do.
yeah,
Some people just
very
think
well.
when you hear nuclear, it's bomb, oh, it's dangerous, so this and that. So we need to sensitize people more to tell them the reasons why we even need this nuclear power in Nigeria. And the other thing, of course, if we're able to tackle further security, vandalism, even within the premises, we also really need to sensitize people that even though all these facilities is not even going to be easily accessible, but trust me, Nigeria is a country that even if you're trying to put the security, build the security around it, they need to maintain their status. They need to know how important it is securing the perimeters of the facility is. They need to understand that if you could even just blink your eye and then something will happen. So both within and outside form of sensitization is very, very important. We need to make people understand why we need this. We need to make people understand that it's not just by creating bomb. That is why we need our nuclear nuclear power. And then some people also have the misconception that SAT that houses this reactor, that why are we not using it to generate power?
Yeah,
I try to make them understand that, for God's sake, it's a different type of reactor.
yeah,
It's a mineral neutron source reactor that is just used for specific purposes, and power is not one of them. So you see all these things of people, even I'm talking about people that are elders, yeah, people that they've gone far in life, or even our peer group or seniors. If it is our juniors that don't understand, hey, we try to make them understand. But these are seniors that you try to make them understand that this is not the type of reactor that you use for power generation. It's a different type of reactor. So I said, okay, we've been training for over how many years? Why is it that we've still not got to the power? It is not us. We are doing our part.
exactly.
And the other thing is that, okay, fine, we've been doing all these trainings. What form of motivation are they giving us? There is none. There's no form of motivation that is even being given to us. We are trying to motivate ourselves and just
Yeah.
keep pushing day by day. You get so a lot of things that need to be done, but first and foremost, we need to be serious. Everything is already written on paper. It's just to do
Yes,
that is remaining. And if
yes.
we can do this, trust me, the rest will be history.
Of course,
So we're only playing our part,
a whole lot
honestly.
of
So
a whole lot of development is
yeah.
owed to a stable power supply. Yeah, once there is a
Exactly.
stable power supply, I'm sure Nigeria would go beyond where we are today. And very well, SAT is playing its role in human capital development. It's evident across everywhere. You can't even hide the fact that SAT is breeding the best. So I think
Alrighty.
it's so it's now left for the government, the policymakers, to do something to actualize this whole thing that has been on paper. So the last one, uh,
Okay.
for other young, for our listeners, young
Okay.
girls, young women who are looking into the industry. Probably they are still peeping and like, is this what it is? So, so what do you want to tell them? How do you want to encourage them? Will you tell them to come? Will you tell them, wait first, let's see how things go before you come? So what do you have for them?
Of course. I'll tell them to come. Please. Everybody. Everybody they bear papa name if you pardon me speaking in pidgin. I don't own such. Such is not my father's property. It's not my inheritance. The nuclear field is not my property. Please, whatever it is in life that you genuinely need to do, practice, put your mind to it, something that you want to learn, please go for it for as long as it's something beneficial, for as long as it's not something that has any negative vices, please go for it. You see people that will discourage you. Even the geology, I mean, I had quite a lot of discouragement when I started
Wow.
100 level, like I'll never forget, but I didn't stop. I was just praying to God that God should just pull me through. Let me not disappoint because it was a step I had to take. In fact, honestly, I never even knew what geology was, not even talk about nuclear physics. So it was something I just took by that I am going to study geology. Please, it is my life. I'm the one that was going into this. I'm the one that is going to build myself and know what I'll use it for in future. And so far, so good. I see myself that I've even shifted into a different field completely. So nobody should be discouraged. Nobody should discourage you, if they don't have a genuine, like when I mean genuine, really like it is death threatening. But for as long as, I mean, every course that you find in the jam brochure, none has in bracket, if you study it, you will die or anything negative. So please go for it, build yourself and be somebody in future, and don't pay much attention to negative talks, because trust me, no matter where you find yourself in life, if people
Yeah.
don't talk negative about you, if people don't talk about you, if people don't try to discourage you, it means you're not on the right path. So so please continue, be positive, stay positive, and ensure that yes, what you are going to do in life is something that will be very, 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 very beneficial. You will learn from it, not just you, something that you probably pass on. You have children, you tell them, oh, okay, this is the reason why I studied this. But if you think you can study it too, please proceed. And then you shouldn't also try to, you must do this particular course. No, if you don't do this. Trust me, everybody's brain is different. Everybody's
Yeah.
capacity of assimilating is different.
Yeah.
Just give them that benefit of doubt and pray. Like I said, utmostly is prayers. So if you don't have God by your side and you think you can just walk and that is it, stop. I don't know. But to advise my fellow females, please go for it. I've already explained some negative talks that I've encountered or I've heard from people, but it did not stop me. I'll proceed. And God's willing, of course, so far so good. Our facility is quite safe, like I said. So we thank God, honestly. We thank God. So everything is very, very okay. So far so good. That's so good.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for being open and sharing with us your journey into the nuclear industry so far. So far, it's looking
Thank
so
you.
bright, it's looking so brilliant, but we know that there is still more ahead for you to accomplish. And you seem very, very ready to make it happen. And I really love that. And for me, I think I've loved that one, to be ready to make anything happen. And then I also learned fluidity, be fluid, like be able to adapt to, because you don't even know how much God has in stock for you. So be always willing to obey whichever direction takes you. It's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
honoring
much.
our invitation. It's our pleasure.
Thank you too so much. So
Thank you.
till I get invited again.
Very well, we will. We are hoping to throw a webinar anytime soon. We would want
Okay.
to have you around.
No problem. No problem. I'll try my best to avail
Thank you.
myself.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of A Woman in Nuclear podcast. We hope you're inspired. Don't forget to follow us on all our socials at A Woman in Nuclear. Catch you on the next episode.